Please come to order. Captain, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
My pleasure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go on with our agenda, Sheriff Bradshaw is here and he would like to address the assembly. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you and good morning. I appreciate it. It's good to be here. Somebody said, we haven't seen you in a while. I said, well, that's not important. What's important is you see these guys, right? Because no matter what you tell me, I got to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And from what I've heard, they're doing a pretty good job. I'm trying to get to, yeah, they are. I'm trying to get to as many groups as I can to talk a little bit about mental health, given what's going on in the country right now. And the reason I say mental health is I don't think people realize how pervasive everything we do, mental health is involved. When you stop to talk about substance abuse, whether it's drugs or alcohol, family violence, domestic violence, shootings, whether it's in the workplace, schools, it's all about mental health. Now, don't get me wrong, not everybody that's got mental health problems is dangerous, but when you boil all of these different factors down, that is a characteristic that's involved every single time. Now, 9 years ago, I started our own mental health unit at the sheriff's office. And I did that because I realized that I'm the biggest mental health provider in this county, and it's in the jail. That's the wrong place for it. And I needed to get ahead of the curve a little bit on dealing with the issues that are out here. So I started this unit, and what it's comprised of is a deputy sheriff that has a master's or a PhD in psychology, and then I hire a professional clinician from the community to be that deputy's partner. They make up a team. And we started out small with 2 teams. We're up to 7. I could use double that because of the amount of calls that we have out here. But I can't begin to tell you the things that they've prevented. School shootings, I know that we've prevented at least 3 of those. I know that they've talked people out of domestic violence situations where the husband was going to kill the wife and the kids, and they were able to talk that person out of there. So it's been a great asset. But we have all the tools that we need to get ahead of the problem because they use the red flag law, the risk protection orders. That means when we go to a place and we find somebody that's a danger to themselves or the public, and they have firearms, we can take those firearms now and go in front of a judge and say, don't give them back to them. Bad things can happen. And more times than not, the judge agrees with us because you have that clinical psychologist there along with the deputy saying, yeah, he doesn't need to have a gun. But the biggest, weakest link in this whole thing is people talking to us. I can't do something about something that I don't know about. And trying to get people to call us ahead of time, because look, how many of these things have you seen afterwards where somebody says, geez, I knew that was going to happen? Well, if you knew it was going to happen and that person needed help, why didn't you call us? You know, and I know family members and friends don't want to get their friends and their family member in a problem, but this is not about arrest. If we can get to the people ahead of time, we're trying to get them some help. Get them to a facility where they can get some help. Now, if they've done something, that's different. But more times than not, we're trying to get them the help they need before they do something that everybody's sorry for. So hopefully here in the next month or so, we're going to put a campaign out there. It used to be see something, say something. We changed it a little bit to if you know something. If you just know something, call us. We even have an app you can get to us, and you can be anonymous. It's just that one little piece of information we need to go on. I'll give you an example. Remember the guy that shot the grandmother in the Publix? He was living with the parents. He had tinfoil on all the windows, 4 locks on every door. He was telling everybody how he was worried people were following him, and if they keep following him, he's going to do something. Now, wouldn't you think that's a little strange? Wouldn't you think it's time to call somebody and say, hey, you know, this is not normal behavior, you need to talk to this person? That's the kind of information we need so we can go do what we need to do, because we have the tools to do it. And that's my purpose in talking to you and some other groups, is to give you a little bit of a comfort feeling that we're on top of this. Our targeted violence unit every day gets information, and they go out and they check these leads out. There's something happening right now across the country, and particularly in the county, where somebody is putting out a mass information thing that they're going to blow up the schools and do this, and I think they're trying to disrupt the school system, but it's going out to all the schools, so we're trying to deal with that. But be rest assured that every day we're paying attention to try to stop violent acts before they happen and keep you safe. 2 real quick other programs that I want to tell you about that are really good. When I saw the dog here, it kind of jogged my memory a little bit. We teamed up with the Veterans Administration and Big Dog Ranch to get service dogs to veterans and first responders that have retired and got PTSD. It's a fantastic program. The dogs are free, the training is free, it's free to the vet, but these dogs get trained to recognize that symptom when the vet is having these spells of the PTSD. Before they get larger, before something bad happens, the dog is able to recognize that and get them out of it. Great program. We're up to about 30 or 40 dogs, and we're shooting for a couple hundred easy, because the vets, really need some help because it's out there. The second program is what we call a comfort dog, and again, we worked with Big Dog Ranch. These are all rescue dogs, and our community officers will get trained in using the dogs. So when we go to violent scenes, like if we got a family disturbance where somebody gets shot and there's kids there, or horrific accidents, that these dogs can go there, it's amazing. All of a sudden, the kids and even some people, their attention turns from the real bad situation over to playing with the dog. It's like me, when I walked down there, the first thing I did was come over and start looking at the dog. It's amazing how people's focus changes over to the dog. So the Comfort Dog program, the PTSD program, is part of our mental health initiative. It's great to see what we can do in the community. But please, if you don't take anything else away from this today, realize this is the tip of the spear for us. We're on it. We're going to try to expand this unit, do even more work. I'm very fortunate, the mayor's here. I'm very fortunate the county commission has been very understanding when it comes to budget time, that these things are important for me to protect you. Because I guarantee you folks, every day I get up, one of the first things I think about is you and your family. How do I keep you safe? Thank you for giving me a couple minutes.
Thank you. Before we get law enforcement report, we have 128 delegates signed in, so we'll be able to conduct business. And while we are listening to the sheriff's report, could you please look over the minutes? Go ahead, law enforcement.
Okay, great. I'm going to turn it over to Lieutenant Monath. Just want to say good morning. Beautiful month of May. Next month, just to remind you, and then I'll start harping every month after that, hurricane season. So please start making your preparations. Take care of yourselves and your neighbors. Make sure as you go make your Publix runs, or if you go to Costco or Walmart, start getting your bottled water, your batteries, all your little supplies. We just had a natural disaster a couple weeks ago, we had a tornado touchdown in Palm Beach Gardens. So we're not immune to instant natural disasters here that can happen in a moment, and you really should be prepared. The crime report's not too bad, but again, remember fraud. That's our number one issue. Please be aware. We do have an issue where individuals are posing themselves as either representatives of PBSO or other law enforcement, and they're calling unsuspecting victims and telling them that that they've either missed jury duty or there's a warrant out for their arrest, and to send money for gift cards. Please be aware of that. We don't contact the general public that way. Certainly not over those issues. So just be aware. And these scams are, they go away for a couple weeks and then they resurface. So be aware of that. Lieutenant?
Good morning, everybody. So a couple of things. Today, I think, is Cinco de Mayo, so not too much partying in Century Village, please, okay? We'll start there. Also, just to tell everybody, so the fairgrounds where the concert venue is, the amphitheater, Morgan Wallen is tonight. I don't know if you know who Morgan Wallen is. He's a very, very, very famous country singer, and they're probably expecting well over 20,000 people. So I'd probably stay off like Southern Boulevard and Okeechobee Boulevard, probably 4 o'clock on, because it's going to get really, really bad out there with traffic. Couple of things we're going to go over today. So let's talk about some frauds. Actually, we've been doing pretty good for a little while. But I'll talk about a few of the cases that have come out, and it looks like they're starting to ramp up again. The victim received a phone call. This is from Wellington E. Victim received the phone call asking if she opened up a bank account through Zelle. She stated she did not, but gave the caller information that he used to take money from her checking account. Yeah, so the clue is if they're starting to ask you information, personal information, Don't give out Social Security numbers, bank account numbers, your date of birth. Don't give that information. The loss on that was about $2,000. Another Wellington case, victim received a text from who she thought was Bank of America asking if she attempted to Zelle $3,500. Do you all know what Zelle is? Zelle is just an electronic way to move money. You can move it from your bank account to a person. It's just a very easy way to do that. When she answered no, she received a phone call and was instructed to Zelle $1,900 to fix the issue. So what did she do? She sent $1,900. And the last one, and I'm happy there's only 3. I'd rather have none. Victim's neighbor has been using his credit cards and has used personal information to open, somebody used his personal information to open up additional ones. That's actually a common one that you see every once in a while, where somebody attempts to open up a credit card in your name. They have your personal information, are able to go online, they're able to apply, they're able to get the card, then they use the card, and then once the card is shut down, and they move on to the next victim. So this is a really good story, and for those that have read the Century Village newspaper, so we had, I'm going to back up probably a good year ago, right, Donald? I'm sorry? 2021. So we're almost at 2 years ago. Thanks to the residents, we had some issues with a gentleman. His last name was Hollings, and he was over in Northampton. He was involved in illegal drug activity. So it happens in Century Village. So myself and the captain put our street crimes unit on it. They did an awesome job a couple of years ago, and they arrested Mr. Hollings. Great, right? At some point, he's going to get out of jail. And guess where he was coming back to? Here, right back to Century Village. But the judge made a condition in his release and said he was barred from coming back to Century Village for a certain amount of time, right? Well, it's only as good as the piece of paper it's written on. So I think you guys kind of know where I'm going with that. He laid low for a while, and he did some time. He actually sat in the county jail for a little while. 125 days. Yeah, 125 days. So he actually did some time, which was good, and we thought we'd never see him again. And then I have to applaud because, just like the sheriff says, if you see something, say something. If you know something, say something. Somebody said something and said, Mom, look at this, Mr. Hollings is back, and he's not supposed to be here. So immediately, once that information was passed off by your board to myself and the captain, we put street crimes right back on it. And within about a day, 30 hours, see? Donald was keeping track of it. Within 30 hours, we had our undercovers come in and do surveillance in here. And sure as luck would have it, right, we find Mr. Hollings over by, I think that it was by the Northampton pool. And his wife was driving the car. And he kind of made us out, and he dove into the back seat because he thought we wouldn't see him. Well, we already had seen him. And then my guys pulled him over, and we put him back in jail again. So listen, without you telling us that Mr. Hollings is back, we wouldn't have known that. So we appreciate it. It's important that communication between the residents and UCO and residents and us, flows freely. So if there is a problem, we could take care of that problem. And obviously, Mr. Hollings doesn't deserve to be out here. He deserves to be sitting in a jail because obviously he's not even listening to a judge that told him not to come back. But some people just can't help themselves. So it's a really good story.
Lieutenant, can I just cut in for
Sure.
1 minute? Guys, I'm finding, since I've worked here, that it is very common for senior people particularly to be reticent about calling the police and giving their name. They're afraid of retribution. They're afraid of just putting their name on the books. That's very understandable. If any of you see anything and you want to pass it on anonymously, you can contact Lieutenant Moneth directly, and I'll be happy to provide the contact information for you if you need it. You can talk to me. You could talk to our security supervisors. You could talk to any one of these officers. Whatever you tell them will be held in the strictest of confidence. And as you can see, you will get response. So I just wanted to throw that in, Lieutenant.
Yeah, we appreciate actually the person, and actually this resident was really smart. This resident took pictures of Mr. Hollings. So now you got really good evidence, right? But we never used that person's name. But that picture helped us. The picture showed that he was here. Can we use that picture in court? Maybe, maybe not. But either way, it gives us good evidence to really dive in and try to find him. And we found him really quick, so that was a good case. A couple of thefts occurred on bicycles. We see that periodically here. If you're able to put your bicycles, if you have a little patio area and you can put the bicycles in the patio, try to do that. Looks like a couple of bicycles are getting stolen. Berkshire and Coventry had a couple of bikes taken. All right, let's move on to traffic. I think last month we were like 200-something tickets, right? It was pretty bad. Okay, it is good. It's good, but I tell you, listen, that just shows that people aren't adhering to the traffic rules within the community. But we didn't write that many. We actually wrote 90 this month. Or actually, it was last month. It was for April. So 90 tickets, 56 traffic stops. So that means that there are people that got more than one ticket, right? So not a good thing. It could be their driver's license was bad. It could be they didn't have their insurance with them. It could have been that they were speeding and then ran a stop sign. It could be a number of things. 31 written warnings, and we had 4 crashes in here. And on the call volume, not too bad. We had 262 calls for service and 32 reports. And really, when you look at the 262, you minus the 56 traffic stops from that number because it gets tallied up in our CAD report. So now we're down to about 200 calls for service. So that's actually really, really good. What else do I have for you guys? Anybody have any questions for myself or the captain? Go ahead, sir. I'll repeat it. He's received a number of different calls. From constituents that have mail stolen. So they use a chemical peel. Correct. Yeah. Okay, so I'll talk about that. So there has been some issues lately of some criminal element that has gotten the master keys to those big boxes that the mailmen or mail ladies put your mail in. And what they're doing is they're going in and they're stealing the mail that they want to steal. In some cases, it's checks. And then what they do is they wash the check. Basically, there's a process to wash the ink, and then they go and then they cash it with their information on it. I haven't heard really too much here in Century Village about that because it would be on our report. But that's a federal crime. You know, we would probably be the initial agency to come out, but they have postal inspectors. The postal inspectors are law enforcement. They do investigations on that criminal element that steals the mail, that have these master keys. There have been, this is probably about 6+ months ago, there was a couple of robberies that occurred in Broward County and the south end of Palm Beach County, where they were actually robbing the mail carriers and taking their keys. And I know they got a group out of that. They made some arrests out of that. So they got, but I haven't heard really much after they've made these arrests that, you know, the group was really running around doing. I see all the bulletins on it.
Where I was going with that is we've had constituents here at Century Village reach out to us. We have had
Okay.
we have had a number of cases, and we are working diligently to get people's money back from the.
And what is your?
I'm with Congressman Mass.
Okay, you could just tell them. Here you go.
Yeah. If you guys run into this issue, please reach out to Congressman Matt's office. I also want to thank most of you, or some of you who call. I've gotten a number of different calls asking issues with reference to mail or text or phone calls with reference to fraud. Please continue to call the Congressman's office. I'm always here for each and every one of you. I have missed you, haven't seen you in a couple of months, but please continue to call with any federal issues, and we have been working very diligently with the U.S. Postal Service and the various different banks to recover money that is lost from these chemical pills and crooks who are stealing your money. So thank you.
Sure. You had a question, sir? Is that why all the Dropbox? That I don't know. Is that why all the boxes have been taken out of the village? I don't know. That's probably a question for your board here. I don't know why they took your boxes out. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you as far as that goes.
Did he get
Did you have a question, sir? Anybody else have a question? Ma'am, go ahead. The non-emergency number for the sheriff's office? Yeah, for sure. It's 561 688 3400. 561 688 3400 is the non-emergency number for the sheriff's office. That's good. All right, I'll get to you guys. Hang on. I'm going to have to call it in about a minute because we have another meeting we need to go to.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I just wanted to say, I advise everybody who sends out money or checks to take it to the post office.
Yeah, she advises everybody that she knows that has checks to take it to the post office. That's really good. That's super smart to do that. And actually walk into the post office and put it into the box in the post office. Go ahead, ma'am.
I have a question. The gentleman that was in here that shouldn't have been got into the gate somehow.
Yes.
How
Yep, good question.
does that happen?
So you're talking about Mr. Hollings that we arrested? How did he get in through the gate? Donald, do you have an answer on that?
Yes, our security contractor reviewed a video, and he was taken in the back seat of his ex-wife's car. The ex-wife is a resident of Northampton R.
All right, I'm going to take this gentleman's question, and then we're going to have to go because there's other people.
There's a special pen they sell that you can't wash the check.
Say that one more
There's
time.
a special pen they sell.
Oh, a special pen that they sell that they can't wash the check. I'll be honest with you, criminals are very innovative, and if there's a defeat, they'll defeat that. Oh yeah, yeah. They're very innovative these days. Okay, I'm going to give this microphone back and turn this over to the board, and we appreciate everybody. Ma'am, I will take your one question left.
I have no idea.
Okay, so those are frauds. If somebody's calling that you're not familiar with and they're asking for money because they're in jail, just hang up. Yeah, that's a very prevalent. It's the grandchildren type fraud. It happens quite often. But just hang up. If it's a number you don't recognize, you may recognize a name because they're trying to throw you off. But just hang up on them. Okay. I have got to give this mic back because I have
Yes.
other people. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Pill drop. So outside in the hallway, we have 2 of our District 3 community policing officers that are going to be here for a while. So if you have any medication or prescriptions that you no longer need or no longer use, please come and drop them off. We will take them and we will destroy them for you. And they're right outside in the hallway, right outside in the lobby area. And have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Thank you. I need a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Made by Joyce and seconded by Sandy Levine. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, so moved. Okay. I just want to take a couple of minutes. I've been getting a lot of phone calls, a lot of people coming into the office where a unit is underwater, that whereas WPRF and the association has not been paid. I had one last week that is in the rears almost 10 years. Okay? Doesn't make any sense. No, well, the reason is there's a mortgage on it. But do not wait a year. My suggestion, once the association is in the rears 90 days, 4 months at the most, come into the office, contact me, we will get a hold of Monica, and we will start a foreclosure through WPRF Asset Recovery Program. It's on your behalf. 9 times out of 10, if there's no liens or no mortgages on it, they will work with you and your cost will be minimal compared to going to your own attorney. Keep that in mind. As stewards of your association, you should be looking, you as president or secretary or treasurer especially, if you have somebody that's in the rears for a long period of time, do not wait. Okay. We'll start off with officers' report. Stewart.
I had an interesting comment the other day. A resident came in with what she considered a serious problem, and we went into the office and sat down and talked about it. And we were able to provide her a direction to resolve the issue. And she looked at me and she said, "You know, you're better than artificial intelligence." And I said to her, "Well, we have a sense of humor here and compassion in UCO, so yes, please tell your friends if they have an issue to come in and talk to us about it." There is one other item that I'd like to talk about dealing with artificial intelligence, and it was the first time I heard about it a couple of days ago on television. A man was being interviewed on one of the major news broadcasts and said that he had gotten a phone call from his daughter. And he was listening to her, and she said she needed $600 for something, and it sounded very legitimate. And he sent a check for $600. However, it was not his daughter. It was artificial intelligence that went ahead and duplicated his daughter's voice to such a point that he could not distinguish the real from the fake. So I'm asking everybody here to adding on to what the police said, be very careful about who calls you, and verify or have some sort of code signal between you and your daughter, your children, grandchildren, so that you know that they are there. And one last question, one last item. You will know when the robots and artificial intelligence really work when they knock on your door with a bowl of chicken soup when you're sick. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. Patricia.
Good morning, everyone. As you know, there was a new bus schedule that was put on May 1st. That's in addition to the regular schedule. I'm getting a lot of calls from people asking me, why did I take away a stop from Publix? That's not true. There is a bus that goes every single day to Publix. What we did is we created an east and west shuttle to go out to other places they haven't been. For instance, there only was one day a week to go to the outlet. Now we go every single day. So that gives people something to do. And other stores, Dollar General, just look at the Yuko paper and you'll see it. There are a lot of glitches. We are working it out. I am speaking to the bus company, and we hope to have some of it resolved before the next meeting. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or complaints, please fill out the form. There's a form here and there's a form at Yuko, and let me have it, and I'll pass it on to the bus company. Thank you. Any questions, anyone? Can you come down to the microphone?
No? Okay.
No, I know, but I can't.
I know, we can't.
Do you want me to run back there?
No,
Come to the front.
she can't walk.
Wait.
Can't hear her.
The transportation meeting has always been the first Tuesday and still is at Yuko of the month, yeah, at 1:30. It has. Take what out?
All right.
Oh, okay, I'll take a look. Thank you, duly noted. I appreciate it. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Smile, be happy, be courteous, and God bless you.
Thank you, Patricia. Dominic, you're up.
This morning, I looked at the calendar, and it says that Mother's Day is on Sunday. Probably the most influential person in your life. Was in mine until I got married, and now my wife takes care of me. So think about how you grew up as a child, and in return, how you handled your children bringing them up. And here you are today, all products of a mother. Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you, Dominic. Joanne.
Morning, everybody. I don't have a whole lot to talk about today other than it's May, so it's time to think about your hurricane preparedness schedule for this coming season. So, you know, I just want to remind everybody to start thinking about what you need to do for this season, because June 1st will come around very quickly. Other than that, I have no other items to report.
Thank you, Joanne. David Boaz.
Good morning. I want to thank everybody that supported me in the appointment for the corresponding secretary. It was a very close vote. And just another reminder, if you have a new board meeting or reorganization, to make sure that you bring in a complete new copy every time that you have this done. We don't accept one-on-one, one call. The entire form must be completed as you bring it in. And also, Notary service is done at the UCO office during business hours. And as long as it's something that's pertaining to business at UCO or to your association, we will be glad to help you. We don't do card transfers, real estate transfers. We do UCO business. And thanks again, and nice to see everybody again.
Thank you, David. And now Ruth.
I'm always so surprised. Good morning, everybody. I have a short report for you. It's easier than picking it out of the packet. For the period ended March 31st, the first 3 months of the year, we are ahead $2,317. That averages $772 a month. We're still in the black, which makes me very happy. Other than that, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers and the grandmas in the audience. That's a week from Sunday. Have a good day, and we'll see you next month.
Ruth does a wonderful job making sure that the paper gets out. She deserves a big round of applause. And please support our advertisers. They're the ones that make it so that it doesn't cost you to have a paper printed every month. I'm going to go to the CAM report.
Good morning, everyone. A little bit of housekeeping. I'd like to think myself as someone who keeps up on all his administrative obligations here, there, and everywhere, but occasionally I forget about something. Most recently, in my home association, Chatham-E, we're dealing with a unit owner who moved in 2 grandchildren. It's something of a hardship situation, but something that has to be addressed. When it got as far as the attorney, our association's attorney, the first question I was asked was, please send me your housing for older persons census, which is something that every Hoper association needs to do at least once every 2 years. Well, I haven't done mine in 6. So shame on me, exactly right. And so before we even get moving on the problem that we have to deal with, I have to get that census done, and it turns out that it's somewhat complicated. Each unit owner and each resident is supposed to supply current identification to the board, so it's going to take a few hours for me and my secretary to get this straightened out. So just let me use this as a reminder to all of you. If you do not have a current housing for older persons census for your association in your association records, get with your property manager, get with your attorney, and they'll guide you through the process every 2 years. This is important because you want to maintain your housing for older persons status, all right? Especially now in a very tight housing and rental market. That's all I have for this month, unless anybody has something for me. Oh, come on up, come on up.
I think we should start keeping a mic in the back.
Mary Ann, we should talk more often. Once a month, it looks like. Good morning.
Good morning. So on the Mr. Hollinger's?
Yeah.
Okay, so his wife brought him in. What are we doing about her? Are we pulling her pass, giving her a warning?
Well, long ago, we terminated remember, she's a unit owner, so she has rights.
Right.
This is her home. We terminated her, well, we cut off her barcode. So that forces her to go through the guest lane, which gives the guards an opportunity to see her, and they know her car. Unfortunately, when the video was reviewed, the fellow was in the back seat and covering himself up. So we knew who he was, but they missed it, and this was an active. Let's hide from the guards. So it's very.
So she has no transponder?
She doesn't have a transponder. No, she gets checked like she's going through the East German border. They go in, they look in the back seat. And
Yeah, right.
the car doesn't have a trunk, thankfully, so we
Yeah,
don't have to
really.
ask her to open her trunk. It would not. This fellow's not going to be a problem for us for some time. I've already communicated with the state attorney. Every effort's going to be made to. His original drug dealing case is now reopened, and he's facing a prison term.
The other quick question I have, I read somewhere about some poles being pulled down or something.
Yeah, what you're describing is something called an ERUV, E-R-U-V. This is a device that's used by Orthodox Jewish people relative to doing certain things on the Sabbath. This community has had a standing ERUV for at least 30 years. Most of it consists of the fencing that surrounds the community, and in some places there are poles with a piece of fishing line connecting the two. And this is something that, in a predominantly Jewish community is very common.
Isn't that dangerous with bikers and, board?
Just let me tell you what, we've never ever had a problem with the ERUV before. Remember, they even have one that crosses Haverhill Road with the permission of the police department. But it's so high that, not only a tractor trailer with a giraffe in it would catch it. Unfortunately, there is more than one religious group here in Century Village. My understanding is a different group decided to alter the ERUV and put two up that were, bottom line is they made the poles too low. So one of two things happened. I originally thought that maybe an FP&L truck had dragged it down.
That's what I heard.
They didn't use fishing line in this case. That's how I knew it wasn't the original ERUV. They used twine, which is less liable to break. So maybe that pulled them both down, or it might be someone who doesn't care for these things and took it down. Anyway, there was an incident with bicycles, just as you say. So we're keeping an eye on it, and we're working closely with the groups to, all get along.
Talk to you next month.
Bye, Mary Ann.
Thank you, Donald. Before we go on to our treasurer's report, I just would like to remind everybody, if you have a complaint on the buses, on security, on anything, it must be put in writing. If it's a security issue, you can call up. We'll give you a website where you can contact Platinum directly, or you must come into the office, have it in writing. We need the time, we need the date, and we need the guardhouse, possibly as much information as you can, so that we can go, especially at the guardhouses, so that our head of security can review the incident. We've been getting people that come in. By the way, the guy at the guardhouse, I don't remember which one. I don't remember if it was Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I don't remember if it was morning or afternoon. That doesn't help us. You have to be as specific as you can. Give it to one of the vice presidents. We'll give it to Daniel. Daniel will get in touch with you. And if you don't, you contact back. But he usually gets back to you very, very shortly. Ed, you're up. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's right. My name is Bonnie Schwartz. I'm in Somerset C. I wrote it down so I don't get tongue-tied. Okay. So at the April delegates meeting, I asked the question, what happens if a newly elected board member does not take the certification course from Becca in person or online within the 90 days? Your reply was that on the 91st day, they're off. Is that correct?
Donald, you want to answer that?
Every new board member, when they begin service, has 90 days before or after the day they take service to take that course.
Okay.
They do also have the option of signing an affidavit that basically says, I have read and understood Federal Statute 718 and my governing document.
Okay, so here's my question. My question is that 3 owners from my association called up Friedman's office to find out
You talk about Attorney Freeman at the Becker Law Firm.
Right, who gave the course, to find out if the newly elected board members took the course online, signed an affidavit or whatever. He would not give us any of the
No,
information.
of course he wouldn't.
Why not? Why are they not
Because
accountable?
that would be a violation of confidentiality.
All I want to know is if they took it.
That would be a matter for you to adjudicate in your own board. This is an internal matter. The reason we trust Attorney Friedman is because he doesn't give information out to people on the phone, and frankly, neither do I. Are you on your board?
No, I was thrown off.
Okay, well, you were,
Hey, truth.
I don't think you were physically thrown, you were
Well, you know
probably
what, I'm-
voted off.
Well, that's true, so that's
So you
why,
need
so
to,
it-
I would suggest that you put in a request for records to your board and to your property manager, and ask to see either the affidavit or the certificate. You have that becomes a record of the condominium, and as
Right.
a unit owner, you have the right to see that.
Correct.
And that's covered under statute. So I would suggest that you interface directly with your board and manager, and just request to see the record.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right, Ed.
Good morning, everybody. It's nice that we have a quorum. And since we're a multinational nation, and same here in Century Village, for those who will apply, and I think it applies just about every American, today is Cinco de Mayo, which is a happy holiday, as many of you know, and it's celebrated both south of the border and through the United States. And one of the traditions of Cinco de Mayo is partying and beer, and I understand Greg Weiss is providing all the party and the beer next door in the party room because he's running for re-election. On a more serious note, if you read the newspaper, you saw that Mr. Fausto had inquiries as to what I meant with regard to the report being wrong. It had nothing to do at this point with a defalcation, just mechanical errors which could throw you off. So in addition to that, many of you, not all of you, receive a copy of my email which expounds certain things which are not brought up here and expands the knowledge and the time for the treasurer to give you more information. And for those of you who don't, I'll be outside, and I would appreciate your email, and you'll be put on this. Another quick thing, the duty of the Finance Committee is to continually look to help the village in every way possible when it comes to an economic time. And I've opted to add and replace certain members. And so far, I replaced three members, one of which is a Jew of a Hasidic sect. Another is a gentleman who was super proficient in computers. And the third is a person who has some political background that you may know, Paulette Burdett, the former commissioner which represented us. And that is open. I am looking for other people with specialties, including the law and including mechanical abilities. So the door is open. And for those of you who want to get this email, I'll be in the back. To clear it up, which was abbreviated in the minutes, I prepared this month's report. It's in your file, and it is for a quarter, not for 3 months. And if you notice, it's a small loss. I always believe that a month behind is yesterday's news, and up to recently, I would report on the month that just closed. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened officially, but working on it, I've just had the QuickBooks software enlarged and should be able to get back to where we were, because March to me is yesterday. However, I did take a look at April, and April seems to be consistent. I would look in the future to forward the report prior to the delegate assembly via email. Right now, I think we're fairly level. If there's any specific questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them. I would think that the best way is come into the office, and we can go through everything a line at a time. So, to be as brief as possible, I hope everybody has a happy Cinco de Mayo and a happy and a healthy year to come. If there's any questions, please stand up and ask them. I can't hear. Can you come up to the mic?
Come up to the microphone, Olga.
The issue of treasury bills and CDs, excuse me, has been around for a while. I'm getting exhausted with it. And I'd like to know where it stands at this moment.
Well, to be as brief as possible, as you know, there is a factor that has been in opposition, and it's taken a year between treasury bills and CDs, and it was covered in my last email. What was happening, if you have the opportunity to look at David's blog, you'll see what happened at the finance meeting where we had a representative from Merrill Lynch Bank of America with a terrific program. Right now, as of today, the market moves. As of yesterday, really, the top paying on CDs was 5.05%. My plan was a half of, it's actually now less than a half of the earmark reserves of now 11 million for 5 million. And without getting into all detail, what's happened since April of last year and what will continue until this is done probably is in the neighborhood of a loss of income pre-tax of about $350,000 that we could earn. It has been pushed to the back burner, and is at the officers' meeting, a vote was 3-4 and 4 against. So the officers' committee voted it down, except for 3 people, including me. And it will now mechanically go to the executive board, which was canceled. And after the executive board, it will come back on to the delegate assembly for a vote. And all I could tell you is the survey that has been taken is 95% for, 5% against.
Mr. Grossman, may I just stop you for a moment?
You can, no problem.
I wanted to get some clarity on this, so I decided to reread the UCO bylaws on the treasurer's responsibility. I want everyone to listen very carefully to this, because the first sentence spells it out. Treasurer, the treasurer shall, remember that word, keep a full and correct account of all cash receipts and disbursements, and deposit all funds in banks or financial institutions in the name of and to the credit of the organization. All such deposits must be secured by United States government or in bank certificates of deposits. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but this is telling me that you have a financial responsibility to deposit these funds as you see fit. It does not say that you have to get any approval by anybody, by the officers, by the delegate assembly, or anyone else. This is what is in the UCO bylaws. So therefore, I suggest you just do it, and then this will just stop.
Olga, you know, this has been going on. I have a responsibility. I'm trying to exercise it. It's costing us funds unnecessarily, and I agree 100%. In the past, this was not an issue. It's become an issue. However, to move funds according to our bylaws, whether it's by check or by electronic transfer, I would need 2 authorized signatures. And I would do it. However, I think the point is, do we follow the bylaws, or do we make them up as we go along? And there is a point of no return. The people sitting here can do it right now in another section. It could be brought up, a motion could be taken, and then it could be voted on and not waste another 2 or 3 months.
Okay, I just want to say one thing. Last year, a motion was made to put the $5 million in the treasuries, and it was accepted by the delegates. If you need another motion, I'll present it right now.
Who else?
Olga, you're up. That's it. Your
What
turn.
we have here is a continual resistance. Mr. Donald Foster, which is our CAM, just said 3 minutes. I think I've been timing some of the other speakers 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. It doesn't take long. I don't think you're at the right time. I think it has to be under new business, and you have. Anybody here could put it on the floor. It could be seconded, and motion could be passed or fail.
Can I do that now? Can I make that motion now?
We're not under new business.
Okay, the problem is with new business, everybody tends to leave and we no longer have a quorum. So I'm going to ask all of you to please stay put. And under new business, I will make this motion so we could put this issue at rest. Okay? Thank you.
Are there any other questions which I could answer? Some I can't, but let's move ahead. Thank you all.
Do we have any unfinished business? Any unfinished business? Go ahead, Bob.
My turn. Bob Rivera, Bedford K. All right. Quite a few months ago, the delegate approved to get a engineering report for speed tables. Now, I listened to the officers' meeting. I heard a lot of complaints about speeding. Now, we have been approved to go and get a engineering report for the speed tables. It has not been done. It's time. I say, let's get it done now. No more putting it off. No more bull. Let's get this done so we can get the speed tables in there and slow these people down. This is getting ridiculous. Do somebody have to die before we do this? Is that how it works? All right.
Sorry, say again?
The police, and I've spoken to the police, and I've spoken to the fire departments, neither have an opposition to this. All right. I spoke with the police this morning, and they don't have no opposition to this at all. I personally think that they'd like to see it happen so that they don't have to be in here all the time writing speeding tickets. All right. And as far as the excuse of, oh, well, what if somebody's getting an IV while they're driving to the hospital? Anybody with any kind of a medical background, and I was a Navy corpsman, knows that if you are going to put an IV in to a person, you do it before you leave. They're going to put it in right there when they pick the person up, and then they're going to go. So that is no longer an excuse either. All right? Let's get this thing done, Donald, please.
Yeah, a few months ago, I put some comments on the security contract, the new one. I actually haven't had any response to this thing. There were 4 comments. 2 of them I thought were very, very important. I didn't get any satisfactory of anything. I think it was just brush under the rug. If you have any comments, any kind of answer to my specific comments on each one, I'll be grateful. Thank you.
What were the comments on, Dan?
On the
What did they
security
ref-
comments, okay, one
I
of
know,
them,
what
for
did they-
instance,
What?
one of them, for instance, was the 3,000 fine that we'll have to pay for each one that stays. The answer that the company gave was not satisfactory and untrue, because I'm a part of this company, and it is not what he said it was.
So
That's
you
one
did
thing.
get an answer, you're just not happy with the answer that they
No,
gave.
no, it was not a true answer. It's not that I'm happy.
But you just made the statement that you never got an answer. Now you're saying you got an answer,
On
you're
one.
not happy with, on one. Well,
On one, yeah.
Okay.
The first one is the description of the work that they're doing, and this is very critical because it's not exactly the way, in my mind, that's supposed to be.
Okay.
If you want to discuss
Did you
this,
put it-
I'll
did
come
you-
up this afternoon.
No,
I'll come up
put
and
it, put it
bring
in
up
writing,
again.
put it
Yeah.
in writing and give it to Donald, and Donald will forward it to the vendor.
Okay, thank you.
Any other unfinished business? Any new business? Okay.
Fausto, I have the legal opinion, and
Yeah, I know, I know. Okay.
I want to make a motion for the treasurer to deposit $5 million in government-secured CDs. Anyone want to second it?
Okay. You got a motion, you got a second. Your motion is out of order. Donald, would you please read the legal opinion?
Yeah, guys, in anticipation of this motion, because nothing's secret in Century Village, we got an opinion from our attorney, because this is a lot of money, and things have to be done carefully. I'm going to read an excerpt of the opinion to you, just to understand that we're not just squashing a motion because we don't like it. I don't even think that's the case.
Excuse me, but an opinion from...
I will continue speaking, please.
Please,
You will
let him
not
re-
interrupt me.
Your motion is out of order, and we're reading it and
And I will
letting
read
everybody know
the
why
legal
it's out of
opinion.
order.
You
Why
just,
w-
excuse me, but you
No,
just said
you'll
to make
stop
a
now.
motion
You're out
on
of
the new
order. You're
business.
not recognized. I will not be interrupted. This is serious business, and I'm the CAM.
So?
Now I'm going to read the legal opinion. It won't be long, I promise. The Finance Committee, among such duties, shall be to study the monetary needs of UCO and to present to the Officers Committee and the Executive Board at their September meetings a proposed budget for the next calendar year. It is clear from the above-cited provisions of the bylaws that no electronic payments or transfers to the Bank of America into new accounts can be made without 2 officers' signatures. Also, if the motivation for this transfer is for a better interest rate, then it would affect, quote, the monetary needs of UCO and should go first to the Officers Committee and the Executive Board for their September meetings on the budget. That's our rules, and that's what we live by.
So let me get some clarity
What-
on this.
Excuse me,
The
who wrote that?
the bylaw that was cited came directly from the UCO bylaws.
Where?
I'm sorry. I
What
won't be interrupted.
office-
I'm sorry, Ed.
what-
I won't be interrupted.
What officer wrote it? When did you get it? And why wasn't that presented before? This is an obvious attempt to control what is not in our bylaws.
Okay, so, Ed, and I won't let you interrupt me again. The first part of my statement was directly from the UCO bylaws. The second part of my statement comes directly from UCO's attorney, Rod Tennyson. There is no attempt to squash this motion or to keep Ed from doing what he needs to do, but we do have rules, and I just read them to you. Officers meeting September, Executive Board meeting September, and then, as always, with anything of significant money, it will come to you, the Delegate Assembly, for final approval, or not. So we're gonna follow our rules, and this is a lot of money. This is not something that should be rushed into.
This is not being
That's all I
rushed
got.
into. This is so obvious. It is ridiculous. Where is a written report? And when was this ever affected before in the distant past?
Oh, I have,
I
I have a good
excuse
memory.
me,
No,
I
no,
am talking.
no, I'm gonna respond.
No, you can't stop this
Yeah.
on a non-descriptive, non-presented written opinion given to us before the delegate assembly. Now, you are very smart people. They may not think you are, but I think you are. And what you're talking about is pure nonsense. I would have Mr. Tennyson come here, and I'll bring another attorney, and we'll see what the attempt is. In addition, for those of you who know, Richard Handelsman is the head of our advisory committee, and at the officers' meeting, I had read and have written in his opinion, which first was Treasury is okay, second, CDs is a chip shot, doesn't have to go. Now, what I have here is a political pundit, and I think that Mr. Fausto, as our CAM, has crossed the red line. We're not talking
Sorry.
nickels and dimes.
Excuse me.
Hey, no,
Stop. Stop, Ed.
No.
First of all,
Now,
Fausto.
listen, Fausto.
No, Ed.
You're appointed by David, doesn't make you the boss.
Ed,
Let's
please.
move on and take the vote.
Ed, please stop. First
No.
of all, Fausto is a vice president acting on behalf of David Israel.
Where is
And
that in writing? Can I see that in writing?
Donald Foster is your CAM. Please.
So?
Different. You just called me. You called Donald Fausto. You're calling the wrong person. Second of all, there's no officer up here that is against us doing anything that is legal. And we have told you for months there is a procedure that needs to be followed. You have chosen over the last 5 months, 6 months to use the wording in the bylaws to interpret that you do not need the rest of the officers. Unfortunately, you do.
That's not true. It hasn't been true since day one. Go back.
Okay.
We're wasting a bunch of time, but more importantly, we're wasting my money and your money. And the bylaws tell us we can't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
I have a nondescript opinion from the lawyer. It's not in writing, not presented, and it has never, ever, ever been done in the 50-plus years of Century Village. And Fausto, you've been appointed for months. I don't see it in writing that you're appointed for months.
Okay.
You're
You're 100%
Everybody's walking out.
Of course.
It's your money. No, not of course.
Ed, I will have David Israel send you
Why
an email
don't we
personally.
just take a poll vote?
Fausto, can I cut in for a minute?
Yes,
Let's
I'm
kind of
done.
settle this.
I'm done.
We're talking about, Mr. Grossman said that something has never been done in the past. I have a pretty good and long memory. The last time that a significant movement of your funds was made was when Ed Black was treasurer, and I had just started working here. I can tell you this, Ed worked with the CPA. He came up with a cogent written plan for moving of the funds and reasons why. He took it to the officers, a presentation was made, it was approved, it went to the executive board, it was approved there, and then it came to you, the delegate assembly, for final ratification, and you got to see the presentation from the CPA as well. That's what I want for you as my CAM, your CAM. I want you to see the presentation and make a clear decision.
What you're omitting is that Ed Black raped the Treasury, which was in individual accounts, in order to pay for the roadways. I had no reaction from anybody there. You're losing it. This is part of the plan. It's up to you, folks. It's up to you. It is going to go through the committees, and at the end, the tale will tell. But I got to tell you this is what I consider treason.
Okay, this is not going anywhere for the time being, so
Okay.
I'd like to bring up one more new
No,
issue.
Olga, that's it. We're done.
One more new issue.
No, we're done. We're done. No. The answer, we're not going to discuss CDs or anything else.
I
Ma'am,
said
you were
that
standing-
issue was done. I said I'm bringing up another issue.
Let the lady go first.
And
then
then
you-
I could, okay.
Hi, I'm Marie Doyle. I'm the secretary of CERT here, and I'd like to remind the board here and everybody else who's listening, the delegates, is that you were asked to put your CERT representatives on that form that you submit with the delegates and the board. And to date, we do not have all that information. And as you saw in PGA Boulevard, the tornado that touched down, do not wait till your building is on the ground and you're under the building, or your car has been thrown up against the building. To put that CERT representative in, give it to UCO, and have UCO give it to our president, John Hess, so that he can do his job to make sure that you're protected and safe here. You are really in violation of doing that, most of you, and I'm addressing you because you're here as a delegate and all of you belong to associations. Please select a CERT representative and submit it, and then the board can figure out how to get it to John Hess so that he can do his job here. And I know Ruth does, she puts it in the paper. The police are here, they tell you about the hurricanes, we remind you constantly what to do, but you need to have a CERT representative. Please take that back to your boards. I thank you for your time and energy.
I just want to remind everybody that we have a president who has not been available for 7 months. I understand he's been ill, he hasn't been to a meeting, and I think we should consider the fact that he should resign, and we should move on, possibly have another election to get another president. I just want to put this in everybody's thoughts. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you, Olga. Do we have any other new business? Terrific. Oh, we do. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hi, Les Rivkin, Stratford J. Many of you know that the men's sauna in Hastings has been down for several months now due to some incidents. Studies have shown that there are tremendous health benefits from sauna and that regular sauna may extend your life. There's no money in the budget to fix the sauna, but I am suggesting that we take emergency measures to do something because we're messing up with the health of many of the men. And it turns out I took a survey, and a lot of men are not going to the gym because there is no sauna, which is part of the experience of going to the gym and working out. So I move that UCO designate emergency funds to immediately fix the sauna
Well,
at Hastings.
that's a budgeted item, number one. Number two, I'm not aware that the men's sauna is not working. The women's sauna had a fire, and we've got the insurance claim, and the money has been approved to put that back together.
You're not aware of a lot of things. I'm telling you, the men's sauna has been down for at least 7 months now. And you could ask other people who go there. You could ask Eva. You
Go
could
ahead,
ask
Donald.
people in the clubhouse.
Hi, Mr. Ripken. No, actually, both saunas were set on fire. So that they're being, I'm sorry, I'm going to continue. I know you want to respond. And Eva is planning to have them rebuilt. As far as your motion to have UCO, but you're kind of in the wrong church. This belongs in the Operations Committee. It is my understanding that the Operations Committee has already approved that those saunas be rebuilt, but it's going to take a while.
I am told that that would be in the budget starting in October. I don't know why I have to wait to get health care until October, because of some crazy budget process.
I don't know the mechanics of what's going on with those two saunas. I do know that they were both lit on fire, and it's going to take a bit. I believe they're using a different heating system.
There wasn't a fire in the men's room. Somebody put leaves in there. There was smoke.
That caught fire.
That's a
Yeah,
fire.
somebody put leaves in the heating element. You can't make this stuff up. Yeah, absolutely, it was approved. And by the way, the operations committee, which governs what goes on in this building, is open to all residents, and we encourage you to come to it.
Right, we welcome you to come to the operations meeting this month and discuss it with the committee and with Eva and with Dan. Okay. So I know that the committee has approved updating and redoing the sauna in the Hastings Clubhouse. So, yes, sir.
It's the last Tuesday of every month. That's our normal. It's also in the Yuko Reporter. All our meetings are in the Yuko Reporter.
It's usually in room C here at the clubhouse. Okay.
1 o'clock.
Yes, 1 o'clock. Thank you. Yes. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I want to speak on this subject here. All right, what was decided as to which sauna you're going with? Are they going with the infrared or are they going with the older one?
Bob, don't hold me on this, but I thought infrared was the way they're going to go.
Right.
It's a more expensive way.
It's a safer way, yes. We have. Could you come to the microphone? We can't hear you, ma'am.
I just want to know, what is a CERT representative? What is a CERT representative?
I can answer that.
Yeah, go ahead.
CERT stands for Community Emergency Response Team. These are volunteers who are organized and trained by the community and by Palm Beach County Emergency Management to respond to hurricanes, tornadoes, emergency events, fires. We ask that each association name a delegate to the CERT committee, which meets here once a month in the.
Okay.
Some of the CERT, and we have regular CERT meetings. We go over. I'm a certified CERT. I'm a member of the group. Things like first aid, and how to search the building and check on your neighbors and to report on damage.
So you sign up to be
Donald?
a representative?
Ma'am, the head of search is 5 rows behind you. John, raise your hand. He will answer all your questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
That's your guy.
There you go. Commissioner Weiss, would you please?
Finally.
All right.
Good morning, everybody. Pleasure to be with you. Sorry I missed you last month, but I was in California visiting my mother, but glad to be back here. A couple things I want to share with you. Next Friday, a week from now, my office is sponsoring I want to say not a conference, but really a roundtable on anti-Semitism, but entirely in Spanish. It's going to be held at Don Ramon's Restaurant on Dixie Highway in West Palm Beach at 8 a.m. next Friday. Here's the thing, though, and I know a lot of people don't want to go at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's all going to be recorded. It'll be online, and so if anybody speaks Spanish and wants to understand anti-Semitism, the history, and how it impacts our community, that's going to be done. Also, coming up next week is the Governor's Hurricane Conference, which is going to be held here in West Palm Beach. But the important thing is it's time to start thinking about hurricane season. It's never too early or too late, but it right now is a good time to get started. Make sure you're making your preparations, you're starting to accumulate your supplies so you don't have a big expense all at one time. We can budget that a little bit at a time. And, you know, unfortunately what happened here, both in Boynton Beach and up in the Gardens with the tornadoes, just goes to show you, you know, weather is very unpredictable. It could happen at any time. If you have your supplies, they're always there for you. I also want to recognize Verissa Laldas, who's sitting here now. She's our Port Commissioner, but she's also just recently, I appointed her to our Planning Commission for Palm Beach County, so shout out to you, Verissa. And then my last comment is, Ed, thank you for the shout out on Cinco de Mayo. True, I will be celebrating Cinco de Mayo. I invite you all to come out to Sunfest tonight. That's where I will be volunteering. And they're going to have $5 drinks on the barges. So come on out to Sunfest and we can celebrate together. I will not be drinking. I will be volunteering. But wishing you all very happy Cinco de Mayo. And then my aide, Niels Heimrichs, my chief of staff, is here. He has a brief comment for you.
Also, Ed, he's not running for re-election. He just got re-elected.
He is great. I gotta tell you, I know him.
The gentleman who gave me this letter, I'd like to get your phone number so I can circle back with you. I got this letter walking in. This is about someone who found out that the unit had unpermitted work done. So it wasn't the person living there now, but she found out that I think the windows were installed without a permit. So this sometimes happens, you know, that you have to get a permit after the fact. If this is a widespread problem in Century Village, what I can do is have the building department come out. They just hired a new person who is doing their outreach, so they're going to be a lot more, you know, in the community. So if that is something that you all have an appetite for, I can sure set up and have the building folks come in here to talk about what to do when you find out that unpermitted work was done in your unit. That's all I got.
Thank you. Verissa.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much, Mayor Weiss. He's actually our mayor right now too for the county, and also our commissioner for District 1. My name is Commissioner Verissa Laldas. I am your port commissioner for District 2. I directed our port staff to work with Patricia and Bobby, and I'm happy to announce that we have put together a port tour on June 7th, and I will be providing food. So we'll discuss, Patricia, I suppose we'll discuss what sort of lunch I should be ordering, what everyone would prefer, but
Mexican food.
so I'm so happy to have you guys at the port. It's gonna be a bus tour, and then we'll get out and have lunch together. And I'm trying to do this more frequently. I've asked our port staff to do this, to organize this at least once every 6 months. I'm really trying to get this to happen more frequently. And for those of you, I think there's only going to be about 40 slots. So for those of you that aren't able to do it this time, I've also spoken with our executive director, and we're trying to fit it in the budget to get a larger tour bus so that we can have, you know, we can more frequently be doing these and accommodating different people. But thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you guys.
Thank you. Gina Ward. She works for the clerk of Joseph Abruzzo.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gina Ward from the Clerk of the Circuit Court and Comptroller, Palm Beach County. Palm Beach County Clerk is Joseph Abruzzo. Just have 2 updates. Just want to let you guys know about our property fraud alert. It is a free service, so you do have a property in Palm Beach County, you'll be able to just go on our website, which is mypalmbeachclerk.com. Search property fraud will be the first link, and then you'll be able to get alerts if something comes to our office. A lot of scamming has been going on, so we've been pushing it more of you just go in and sign up. It takes 2 seconds, and we'll alert you when any forms comes to your our office. We'll send you an update, whether that's through phone call or through text. And then also our record search feature. So if you need to look up any type of records, you don't have to travel downtown. Traffic is crazy downtown. So please use our online services where you'll be able to obtain the forms straight from the computer. And if we do not have the form that you need, all you have to do is just call us, and we can email the forms to you that you need. But that's all.
Thank you. our most favorite person, Mike, from the tax assessor's office. Everybody loves you.
Hello, everybody. It's Mike Pratt from Dorothy Jacks, your Palm Beach County Property Appraiser's Office. And what I wanted to point out today real quickly is that one of the things that we have is a mobile app. Everybody has a phone, and the Property Appraiser's Public Access, we call it PAPA. That's, and Dorothy Jacks is the mama of Papa, by the way. And you can just Google it. It'll come up, and you could use on your phone and be able to identify properties, look up people's location. It has a map. It has everything. And take a moment, take a look at it. At this point in time, the Property Appraiser's Office is getting ready for the next tax roll. We're working on it. It actually gets approved by the Department of Revenue by July 1st. August, you get a trim notice that's called Truth and Millage, which is your value. One important note about that, it's a big piece of paper. It says, this is not a bill, do not pay, but don't throw it away because it's important. You got 25 days. If you have an objection to the value of the property, call our office and we can, work it out. And if you're not happy with the answer you get, you can always file with the Value Adjustment Board and go to a hearing on it. But thank you for your time, Fausto. Great meeting. Enjoy all the stuff here today. It's been fun.
Thank you. All right. We now have a representative from Brian Mast's office. Last but not least, we saved the best for last.
I really have no comment. Well, I don't have a lot to say except for happy Cinco de Mayo, happy Mother's Day, and in the spirit of kindness, please say a prayer for our brother David Israel. Thank you.
Okay. Under the good of the order, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers and the happy fathers and grandmothers and great-grandmothers that we have in here. Does anybody have anything for the good of the order? Did I miss anybody? I try not to. Okay. We have a motion to adjourn, and do we have a second? Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, gentlemen.